Good morning.
Good morning.
It is so good to see you all, and so good to see, and hopefully you can hear me out on the live stream. Every Sunday is a success. Welcome to Beacon, everybody. I am the Reverend Emily Bogus, and I just want to say before me is a room full of beautiful human beings. I can see that each of you are smiling underneath your masks, are you not? And before me is also a virtual gathering of beings, pets too, I'm sure. Sorry to all of you that you can't bring your pets here. I want you to take a moment, if you're on the virtual, to share your first name, your pronouns, and where you're watching from, and invite you all in the sanctuary to kind of look around you and wave to the people around you. I know you got to say hello outside as we were singing, but it's important to welcome and to be welcomed. The pandemic has taught me, and I hope it has for you too, how to not take things for granted. This moment right here has become incredibly precious. When we were told that we could not gather, that we could not sing, that we could not break bread together, we then learned how important it is to have moments like this. The old mind traps that it was a duty or a chore to show up fall away, and these moments become treasured. So, Beacon, don't let this moment pass you by. Allow yourself to be here now. Bring your full attention to this moment and experience a oneness and a solidarity that is within you and within all of us. You are not alone. Welcome, Beacon. I'm going to invite Jessica Park to come forward for our chalice lighting.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Park, and I serve on the Board of Trustees at Beacon. As we light this flame, let us bring the fullness of ourselves, both our vices and virtues. Let us bring the fullness of our lives, both our blunders and our triumphs, knowing that within these walls, both physical and virtual, earthly and universal, we are loved. May the light of this flame rekindle that truth.
No matter how many times you have to light it.
My name is Daniel Simbala, and I'm a worship associate here in the congregation. Let us welcome in the spirit of meditation, a time for centering ourselves, coming into close communion with ourselves. During this time, to the extent possible, slough off. To the extent possible, let all the concerns and worries, efforts and urgencies, judgments and criticisms of this morning and of this day ahead take a back seat for the moment. Just let them drop away. They will still be there for you when our time together is done. If you will, find a comfortable position in your seat. Gently close your eyes. Let your feet be flat on the floor. Rest your hands in your lap or your thighs, palm down in an aspect of support, or palm up in a gesture of acceptance and surrender. Adjust your position as you need to, so that you might feel relaxed, yet alert. Take a breath, deeper than your normal breath. And on the exhale, allow your shoulders to relax and drop. Feel your back being erect and long, yet supple. Allow your head to float lightly from the crown, your chin tucked down just a little bit. Gently become more fully aware of your body and your interior state. Imagine you are ready for a visit with yourself, just the way you are. Imagine you hear the words I speak as if they were your own, saying, welcome, welcome, welcome. I welcome everything that comes to me in this moment, because I know it is for my healing. I welcome all thoughts, feelings, emotions, persons, situations, and conditions. I let go of my desire for security. I let go of my desire for approval. I let go of my desire for control. I let go of my desire to change any situation, condition, person, or myself. I open to the healing action of grace within. As you feel ready, gently open your eyes and come back into the space of this physical moment. You have been on a visit with yourself. If it is useful to you, carry what you have experienced into your day, having possibly become just a little more accepting of the way things are for you, just as you are. Amen and blessed be.
Good morning, Beacon. My name is Alice Levine, and I serve our congregation as a chaplain. Each Sunday, we hold together the fullness of life through our weekly candle lighting so that we may hold each other's person's sorrow or joy as a community. If you would like us to light a candle for you, I invite you to put your hand on your heart. If you are holding someone in your heart, I invite you to raise your hand. If you are online, please write the name or the person or place you are lifting into the chat. Today, our Beacon community is lighting candles for Stephanie Day Powell and Lisa and Sonny McAllister. With each candle lit, may each of us know that we are held in the care and love of our community. I'd like to share with you at this time a story of a recent joy that I've had. As a child, I was absolutely obsessed with baseball. As an adult, I'm still absolutely obsessed with baseball. What's different now is that when I was a child, I thought for sure I was going to be a professional baseball player. I believed it. You couldn't have convinced me that there was anything else. Well, it soon became clear that that was not going to happen. But as a child, I used to fantasize about how I would, have a tryout for a team, And we lived across the street from a park, and it occurred to me that the Yankees or the Dodgers might just show up there one day, and I'd go up, and that's kind of what I had going on, in my head. And I held that for years, until I realized that there was no way I had the talent for that. In any event, then in 1989, they made the movie Field of Dreams, where baseball players actually came out of a cornfield in Iowa, and I was like, there was my childhood dream, and I loved that movie. But in any event, this week, Major League Baseball decided to play a game in that cornfield, and the players came out of the corn and onto the very field that they had made for the movie, and it just brought back so much joy for me, and I just wanted to share that with you, So, but in any event, today I get to play a lot of softball, so that's my, that's my consolation. If you have known fulfillment or self-expression, I invite you to wave your hands. If you or someone you love has celebrated a birthday or anniversary this week, I invite you to snap your fingers. If you are loved, I invite you to clap your hands.
We're all loved. They need you to speak up.
Oh, if
Say
you
it again, one more time, because that clapping was not enough, I have to say.
if you are loved, I invite you to clap your hands. I get how the energy is different. Yes. Okay. If you have love in your heart, clap your hands. Today we celebrate India's 74th year of independence and place ourselves in solidarity on this day with all those individuals, communities, and nations seeking liberation. In celebration and solidarity, I invite you to say, Amen. Amen. Beloved, for the gifts and so much more, we give thanks.
On Tuesday, a member shared with me a science fiction story written by Ursula Le Guin. Le Guin tells a story about a person with a special power. Whatever he dreams at night comes true. He wakes up in the morning to find that what he has just dreamt is now reality. Just think about what you dreamt last night and see how truly terrifying that might be. So his therapist, because you do have a therapist if your dreams are coming true like that, his therapist suggests to the man that he dream about a solution to the end of the problem of overpopulation. It works. Of course, it's not what it seems. The man awakes to a deadly pandemic. In telling me Le Guin's tale, the member wondered if that was the reason behind our current reality. Did someone somewhere in the world have a really bad dream along with a very special power? Well, I wasn't sure, and I'm not sure about this, but I think I may have made Andrew Cuomo resign this week. Way back in June, I'm not kidding, I decided on this sermon topic of falling off the pedestal for this Sunday, exploring how our leaders fall mightily from their glory. Is it a coincidence? Yes, it is a coincidence. What actually made Cuomo's resignation possible were the brave women who confronted both a powerful person and a powerful system. Not to mention a system of accountability through the state attorney general's office led by Letitia James and a damning 165-page report. Let's be clear, Andrew Cuomo was not going to back down without serious consequences. He is not a man who backs down. If he were, Cuomo would have stopped his self-described affable behaviors when the women told him to stop. But he did not. In fact, Cuomo held on to power and his pedestal due to what close observers called his predilection for destructive fights, his refusal to listen, and his narcissistic ego. It's not that he was fighting for vindication, they said. Cuomo was fighting to substantiate his belief that he was above the law, that he was above accountability. The truth is that leaders are falling off pedestals all over the place, be it politics or religion, be it your boss or supervisor, be it your revered teacher or your beloved big sibling. At some point, we've got to wonder, for those of us who follow, which is all of us, why do we keep striving to reach the pedestal? After all, switch that for a second. For those of us who follow, which is all of us, why do we keep putting people on pedestals? To ensure that they fall? For those of us who lead, which again is all of us in some way, shape, or form, why do we keep striving to reach that pedestal? After all, it's pretty lonely up there. It's pretty lonely up here. The verb to lead comes from the Old English verb meaning to guide, to show the way. And we are living through a time without a well-trodden path or a North Star. Who, we wonder, will guide us? So much of our spiritual struggle, from my vantage point, is our profound grappling with not only the loss of our leaders, but also a growing mistrust and suspicion of them. Not only is there no path, there's no one worthy enough to show us the way. It's not ego we're looking for, says Ryan Holiday, yet that's exactly what we think we want. We think we want New York tough, as Cuomo said in his resignation speech. Ego, says Ryan Holiday, is the 21st century leader's enemy. Ryan Holiday is not talking about the Freudian definition of ego, though I did think it was very Freudian that in my first draft of this sermon, which I actually recorded, I wrote the governor's name down as Mario Cuomo, his father. There has to be something Freudian there. Was Andrew seeking his father's claim or fame? Ryan Holiday, is talking about, when he's talking about ego, he's talking about an unhealthy belief in our own importance. Ego is when our importance trumps any accountability, any willingness to admit that we are in the wrong or that we've caused hurt. Whatever the accusation, it's wrong because we are good people. Therefore, we cannot be wrong. So let me ask you, have any of you seen the show, the television show Community? Everybody's very timid, except Chad's like, yep, Good, thank you, Chad. Well, one of the characters, Jeff Winger, is a 30-something, I think he's 30-something, white male lawyer who was disbarred for falsifying his bachelor's degree. So he's got to attend Greendale Community College in order to actually legitimate his degree and get his old life back. There's a lot of wanting to get our old life back. Somewhere in his first year, he takes a pottery class. It's the easiest A in the course catalog. But it turns out that Jeff is downright awful at pottery. So he is going to fail the easy A, right? And he begins to wonder, because he has this flashback moment where his mom is telling him as a young child, Jeff, you're so good. You're so good. You can do anything you set your mind to. You can never fail. He has that flashback moment and thinks, did my mom lie to me? Am I really not as good as she said I was? And instead of confronting the fact that he might not be as good as his mom said he was, that he might actually fail at pottery, instead he tries to take down the other first-year student who is actually good at pottery. So, while Community makes this scenario into a comedy, the show, when it is played out in real life, is more like a tragedy. This type of ego is not unlike a virus that destroys lives. It is capable of causing incessant problems, disrupting relationships, and destroying the very lives that we wish for ourselves. Because in order to maintain the myth of our own self-importance, we can't face it straight on. We fight back instead. And in fighting back, we separate ourselves from everyone and everything who loves us enough to tell us the truth. That is, after all, how Shakespeare became a successful playwright, by putting the ego in the spotlight. And so Andrew Cuomo is just another character from Hamlet. We can reassure ourselves that we are not Andrew Cuomo, right? Oh, I am not that. But if we're honest with ourselves, we've all been victims of our own ego. And I have to tell you, in writing this sermon, I had a lot of stuff inside that had to churn up, right? The way to test our ego's healthiness is to hit a setback, to stagnate, to fall out with someone that we love, or to live through a time of great disruption. Can our ego survive these tests? Do we have the humility to listen to the ways we've fallen short with new ears, or see ourselves with new eyes? Do we have the confidence that we can fall apart, and in the midst of falling apart, in the midst of failure, say that we're still worthy and grow? Writer Sue Monk Kidd said, "The truth may set you free, but first it will shatter the safe, sweet way you live. And in the shattering, you will find the pieces that belong with you and the ones that do not. Leave those shattered pieces on the ground," she says. "Walk past them with remembrance, but not with regret. You are whole with everything that is left." Beloved, I don't think we're looking for a leader with New York toughness to show us the way. We need to unlearn what leadership has always looked like. Our time calls for a different way of leading, one where the leader has developed daily practices for keeping the ego in check. In her book entitled The Church Cracked Open, Episcopalian priest Reverend Stephanie Spellers describes how Jesus, one leader, provides a different model for this time of disruption and decline. And this is true whether you see Jesus as a divinity figure or as a regular human being. She writes, Jesus could have been a prince on a throne holding power, riches, and every kind of privilege. Instead, he denied it. He let it go. He let go of any notion of God on a pedestal or a cosmic deity of empire. And he didn't let go once. He practiced letting go as each new challenge presented itself. Ryan Holiday talks about this as the practice of sweeping a room. You don't just sweep a room once and find that the dust is gone forever, do you? No, the stupid dust comes back every single day. You've got to sweep, and I find that I have to sweep multiple times a day or just live with the dust. We've got to live with our egos. This is the practice of humility, of letting go of the self-important notions of ourselves. And moreover, there is more here, of course. Contemplative theologian Beatrice Boutreau reminds us that Jesus encouraged us to think of ourselves and our relationships as circles instead of pyramids. Jesus consistently moves from the center to the margins. Why do you think he does that? Because in the center, it is lonely, and you are just left with your ego. On the margins, you are embraced by community and those who love you. This is the practice of a gentle confidence, not ego, confidence. I am not I because I am in the spotlight or I am at this pulpit. I am I because I am in being with you, for you. Interestingly, there is another origin meaning of that old English word to lead, and that is to accompany. Accompanying, I think, is our task as leaders in this time. That is how we will move through disruption and decline. And now that I think of it, and Chad, back me up on this, how compelling is it that the creators of that show Community called it community, not the follies of Jeff Winger, because it's Jeff's community, that group of 7 or 8 in his study group, that keeps teaching him to let go of his ego. So, beloved, would you come down off the pedestals with me? And if we weren't in a pandemic, I would literally come down off the pedestal, but unfortunately, I then break the protocol without a mask. Can we come down off the pedestals, you and I, we together? Because it's really lonely up here. Let us be people, a congregation, who accompany one another through humility, through confidence, through sweeping the dust from the floor. Let that be our North Star. So may it be. Ashe and Amen. Well, the TV's coming on.
About 8 years ago, my sweet hubby and I went to a Sunday service at Beacon to see what it was like. Well, we've pretty much gone every Sunday since then. It's just so good to have the time to pause, to meditate, to have glorious music and intellectual stimulation from our stellar staff, and to be with other good folks who are really committed to community and who care about social justice. One of the many ways that we have experienced these joys at Beacon has been in our community group. Beacon gathers small groups of congregants to meet bi-weekly on a continuing basis, and we have a curriculum of short readings and questions so we can learn about ourselves and one another Well, we're discussing important ideas and values and experiences. In our community groups through the years, we've had so many thoughtful and touching conversations about ideas, about values, about what's happening in our lives and in the world. And we've really had a wonderful opportunity to get to know other people more deeply and to reflect on our values.
As we experience how valuable the community and services of Beacon are to us, I decided to contribute to its well-being by joining the Finance Committee. I was soon involved in modeling the pledge giving of the congregation. Doing this, I came to realize how much Beacon depends on the generosity of its members to support all of the staff and programs that we enjoy and offer to the community, and to understand the stark choices that we would face if our pledges fall short. So contributing our fair share became a requirement to us as members of Beacon. The truth is that we create this community called Beacon together. You and I, us. Our mission comes to alive through our relationships, our voices, our leadership, and our gifts. Now we move into a time where we give generously to support making the mission come alive in our lives and in the world. In a minute, you'll see ways to contribute to Beacon. We invite you to lean into this practice of generosity. We know firsthand it makes a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Beacon, it is beautiful to see you and to be together. No matter how many times you have to rekindle the flame this week, take this light from this place, take it out into the world, and know that there are people like you seeking to love themselves and love one another as best they know how. Love them in their successes and triumphs, but most particularly, love them when they fail. Take that light into the world. Amen.